Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with a retro review for you today. This probably won't be as long as my usual retro reviews, because today I'm talking about Hellraiser, released in 1987, written and directed by Clive Barker, starring Andrew Robinson, Claire Higgins, Ashley Lawrence, Sean Chapman, and Doug Bradley as Pinhead. This film also has a just tremendous score from Christopher Young and phenomenal visual and creature makeup effects all around. Now, the reason this isn't going to be quite some depth, I am going to run through this, there will be spoilers in this video, is because I didn't rewatch this many times like I usually like to do my retro reviews. I haven't done one in many a month. I think it's been about 6 months now, actually. And this was just kind of an on-the-spur thing. I haven't seen Hellraiser in many years, probably since I was a teenager, or at the very least in my early 20s. And I was talking to my wife sometime a year ago, and she pointed out she'd never seen it. And it's like, wow, this is a classic. It's a bonified gem. And also, when I did my top 5 films from the horror films, my top 5 horror films from the 80s list, I mentioned how I kind of felt like it should have made my top 5, but it had been so long since I'd seen it, I felt like I definitely had to revisit it again, make sure it wasn't all just a nostalgia, as well as community appreciation kind of thing. Does it break my top 5? I went back and watched that video, and my 5 were I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was Funhouse, Child's Play, The Thing, Reanimator, and Pumpkinhead, but like not in that order. I don't know if I necessarily replace it. If I were to replace it with anything, it would probably be Pumpkinhead, because Pumpkinhead's just so dark and so heavy. But at the same time, that's a lot of what I don't like about Pumpkinhead. So I don't think I'd actually alter my top 5 favorite horror movies of the 80s for Hellraiser, even though Hellraiser is a phenomenal motion picture. Another quick thing to point out. Unlike Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Chucky and so many other the horror movie icons, Pinhead is not the central villain of Hellraiser. Which always makes Hellraiser kind of more interesting is the films and antagonists have always focused more on the human evil, the people who summon and attract the Lamont configuration, and the Cenobites and their world of glorious, painful pleasure. It's a great, crazy shit. I mean, this film ended up spawning at least 9 sequels, I know for sure, maybe more, and there's probably one in development now. I gave up. Probably. I want to say I saw at least the first 4 of them, but those 3 sequels are totally forgettable. The original sequel focused far more on visual dazzlement other than genuine horror. So the story is, we meet Frank Cotton, who is an unsung villain of horror films, a very evil, deviant man, a man who has, you call him sadomasochistic, but it's almost too good of a word for him. I mean, deviance and debauchery and just decadence has just overtaken this man. There's no longer a filter, there's no veil, there's no difference between agony and pleasure for a man like this anymore. So he comes across the Lamont configuration, and of course summons the Cenobites, and they rip him apart, take him to hell. Sometime later, Frank's brother and his second wife are moving into his old place. Frank's brother Larry is a widower who's got a college-age daughter who's also moved to town recently, but's not living with them. And they are definitely trying to tell right away their marriage is very on the rocks. And it's revealed through flashbacks that she had a very passionate, steamy affair with Frank shortly before her and Larry got married. Now, while moving in, he gets his hand caught on a nail and starts bleeding horribly and bleeds into the planks of the attic where Frank was ripped apart. As soon as they leave, and like the wood, the boards just soak up, they drink in the blood. It's so cool, such a cool effect. And I'm sure it's just like a reverse image kind of thing, but it's really well done. And the sequence of Frank's body coming back to life, first just like, a spinal cord, and then the nervous system and the brain forms, and it's all so bloody and pussy and putrid and grotesque. It is quite the sight to see. It is a great sequence in the history of horror movie gore. In fact, more than anything else in this movie, that's the scene that stood with me all these years. So now Frank is alive. It's the blood that brought him back. He's convinced of it. And while going back up there, for some reason she gets lured back up there. Maybe she even hears him. But she comes across Frank, and he's like this Gollum-esque shrill of a man. And there's nothing to him, almost, just barely, just like a nervous system and muscles. And he says, "It's the blood that brought me back. Bring me more blood." And she eventually agrees to do it because she'll do anything for him. She's obsessed with him. It's the greatest piece of ass she ever had, this kind of stuff. And she's willing to sell her soul, murder people, feed human beings to this monster. So that's what she starts to do. She starts luring men up there. 3, 4 men. Exactly hard to, James Janice, he'll get to it one day. He'll let us know exactly how many she brought up there. She lures them up there to the attic. She's a very attractive woman. Julia. Whacks him with a hammer. And then Frank eats him. Absorbs him, drinks him, really. It's very gross shit. And it's nasty, and it's really gory. It's so funny that, it's really gory and shit, but, going back after, I guess it's kind of just diluted over the years by shit like Saw and the Hostel movies, because it's like, I didn't get any, like, kind of moments watching this movie last night. I got more grossed out about a meme I saw a few weeks ago than any of the gore in this movie. I guess it isn't so much a bad thing. So, so, around this time, Kirsty, the girl who, the college-age daughter, she has been kind of going in and out visiting her dad, seeing the house. She can tell there's weird shit going on. And, she sees Uncle Frank up there eating a guy. Oh, that's right. She is coming over to visit, and she sees her aunt lure a guy in, and kind of comes in while he's eating this fucker. And it's kind of hinted at earlier that he's obsessed with her, real like pedophilic, incestuous, rapey shit, really awful stuff here. And yeah, he wants Kirsty. And he goes after her, and escaping the house, she gets a hold of the Lamont box, the configuration, and ends up in a hospital. Oh, fuck, I'm kind of blanking on what exactly happens. She's in a car wreck. She ends up in the hospital. But while she's in there, she's fucking around with the bots. And, she's opened up to the world, and the Cenobites come from her, and you get, you finally meet Pinhead. And she basically makes a deal. She's like, Frank has escaped, and they don't believe her, prove it. Make him, have him proclaim it with his own lips. And she basically, she makes a deal. If you take him, you let me go. They're kind of like, well, we'll see. And, my second favorite Pinhead line in the movie is, of course, if she lets them down or tries to betray them, they will tear her soul apart. Fucking Pinhead's badass, man. Pinhead's awesome. It's no surprise why he's the most popular and beloved character from the franchise. And it's kind of cool too that in this movie, in the closing credits, he just has the credit. He's just credited as lead Cenobite. I don't know what the girls one, but I think the other two main Cenobites we've seen in this movie names are Chatterbox and Butterbean. I didn't look it up, or Butterball. I mean, I didn't look it up. I'm not for sure about that. So we get to the third act, the climax of this movie. Unbeknownst to Kirsty, while all her stuff with the Cenobites had gone down, Julie has led her father to Frank, and Frank's killed him. He's wearing his skin now. So Kirsty gets there, trying to warn him, this kind of thing. Frank's in the attic, and they're like telling her to be calm, go up there, look at the body. You found Frank, I killed him. And, she's just seeing this bloody, fucking mangled skeleton. And she has no idea that's her dad. And this is me and my wife were both laughing. It's like, how could she not tell something's way fucked up? And your dad is totally matted in blood. Like, he looks like he's wearing a skin suit. He looks like he's wearing a skin suit. Eventually, she figures out what's going on. Frank makes his move. He wants to be with her. He wants her. And ends up killing Julia, absorbing her. And this is a weird thing, because this has always confused me. He absorbs her, kills her. You see her, like, rotting and withering away as he's absorbing, like, drinking her alive like he did the other people. But later in the movie, later in the climax, we see her in the bedroom, ripped apart, holding the Lamont configuration like she was tampering with it, trying to open it. Now, that's just always confused me. So, which thing killed her? Or is the second thing this alternate weird thing? This is just kind of where the house, but it's just a weird thing. It makes no sense to me. But we get a standard slasher chase around the house, directed very well, which is another thing I should point out. Costumes, character, story, art, all around. Clive Barker did a terrific job with this film. It's as far as I know, he only directed the two movies, this and Nightbreed, and they're both fucking great, if you ask me. He should have directed more movies, in my opinion. So, Kirsty's running from Frank. She lures him into the attic, and he eventually says, come to Uncle Frank, and like that, the Cenobites just appear. It's so cool. Like, just coming out of the shadows, and then, like, the world changes. He realized she's been set up, and this was a deal she had made, and he goes to kill her, but all the things hook him in, and they rip him apart one last time. She tries to get away because, she brought him Frank, but of course, they're playing for keeps. They're the fucking demon motherfuckers. During this whole chase scene, we get the fucking hall monster. We see him a second time. My wife pointed out, looks like a fucking killer penis. Lots of chasing, lots of creepy visual shit, wildness. We get my all-time favorite line from the series when Pinhead says, "We have such things to show you." I love Pinhead, man. Pinhead is so fucking cool. So they got her dead to rights. She has the box. She's able to kind of like force it shut, to kind of one at a time slowly kind of force them away. Around this time, her boyfriend, who served no purpose in this movie, I haven't mentioned him yet, because he didn't serve to the plot in any way whatsoever fucking possible the whole time. He shows up, helps her escape from the house, basically helps her open it from the outside. They get out while the demons disappear. And it's kind of, I guess maybe the house catches on fire. It's not really quite clear. It looks like it's on fire, but it's a weird fade effect shot. So the last scene of the movie is we see her at a junkyard that she passed earlier in the film. There's like this bum fire. She throws the configuration on the Lamont configuration on the fire. The fucking puzzle bots. And this homeless dude, creepy homeless dude, been like following her around as being creepy throughout the course of the film, walks up, pulls the fucking bots out of the fire, turns into a dragon demon, and flies away. And that's the end of the movie. That's Hellraiser. And I think it is an absolute goddamn horror classic. It is a must-see, an essential horror movie. How it deals with... It is a perfect example of show don't tell. There's not these endless scenes of exhibition. We don't need to know about everything about the Cenobites and the goddamn Lamont configuration in the world. We don't need to know all of this. It's the mystery and it's the nastiness. They don't have to say the word human sacrifice or pedophilia or adultery, but it still deals with all of these themes. You know what I mean? Fucking Hellraiser is a masterpiece. It is a great horror movie. As I said, it is a must-see. So, of course, I'm calling classic. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm starting to kind of lose my voice a little bit. Anyhow, please like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that wonderful, juicy, lovely stuff. I'm Jake Davis, and I'll catch you on the fly.